Hey everyone, Evan here, Creative Director for Mr. Black Presents. Welcome to another of our episodes in our video interview series where we're talking with our actors for our upcoming show at Venue 906. That show, of course, is a very special episode. That will be happening Friday, August 28th and Saturday, August 29th with our friends at Venue 906. If you're interested in seeing that show, and we really hope you are, tickets are still on sale right now. You can find all the information about that show, the ticket options, what's for dinner, and all of that information you'll find right down here at our website at mrblackpresents.com/events. Also, don't forget to stick around for our socials on Facebook, our Instagram, at Mr. Black Events, and also for long-form videos like this, they're obviously best watched on YouTube, so you can watch them again, right, Rob?
Yes.
So today, I get the opportunity to talk to you again, Rob, which I really always like to do. So this is Rob Lundholm, everyone. He is playing one of our characters in a very special episode. We're definitely going to talk about that. But Rob, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yes, absolutely. It is a joy talking to you as always.
I appreciate that, man. It's always fun to do this. And I just, the last video came out, I think I was speaking with Audrey, and we talked about a bunch of different things. And we're going to kind of stick with that same format because it works. So let's start off with this. Rob Lundholm, where did this all start? Like, you're an awesome actor. You've been in 2 Mr. Black shows already, and now you're in a 3rd one. And where did this all begin for you? Where did the interest come from? Were you a kid doing it? How did this all happen?
Well, I never really acted at all until I got into my senior year of high school. My friend Walter and I, Walter Dugavito, and we decided to quit football because there were a lot of really nice girls in drama, and there were no boys in drama. And so Walter and I thought it'd be fun to try out drama. And
you do.
And we fell in love with it. And Tom Martin is a great friend of ours, and who actually was our drama teacher, and we did a couple of shows that year. And I went off to college the following fall, and I auditioned for a Neil Simon play called Biloxi Blues, which literally, as an incoming freshman, usually never get cast in main stage performances. I was fortunate. I got cast in that show, and it was an amazing show, and I fell in love with it. It was my freshman year, and my grade point went from, as a freshman year, I was a 1.7, so I had to quit that, and so I didn't really act much through college. Did a few shows here and there. And then I kind of stepped away from acting for quite a while to get my grade point back up, and had a bunch of met my wife, and we had a bunch of kids, and next thing you know, we ended up starting drama again 15 years ago back here at Dickinson County Community Theater. We wanted to do something as a family that incorporated all of our kids, all of our ages, all of our genders, because we did a lot of stuff for like Cub Scouts and things like that. That was more generally just for the boys, and then we did some certain things that were just for our daughters. And we found out, well, what can we do? So what's something and I had this love that I've always had for acting. I really appreciated acting. I really loved it. And I thought, well, there's so many wonderful things about acting. And so we did Annie Get Your Gun, was a show that the Dickinson County Community Theater did 15 years ago. And it was a wonderful show. We had our kids were in it. I played Buffalo Bill. I had a big curly mustache, and it was a lot of fun. But then there was no other kids shows available down the pike for my kids to do. And so we ended up starting our own little theater group for just children, and next thing you know, we started doing more and more shows. And for me personally, acting, I enjoy acting. I love doing Mr. Black shows. They're amazing. They're a lot of fun for me to get out and have fun. But I think a big part of my love is also spreading it forward and paying it forward to the younger generation and new people that maybe don't really know what acting is. They think it's all about being on stage and being the star of something. But what it really comes down to is less of Rob and more of who this person is. And so it kind of forces you to kind of have empathy for different parts of the world that you may or may not know. You know, I live in Iron Mountain, so what's it like growing up in Malibu? What's it like growing up in Colorado or something? And so when you take on a certain role, it's less of you and more of this other person. And so it automatically teaches empathy and things like that. And what my wife and I slowly realize is the more we do these like classes and stuff for the local kids in the theater productions, we start to realize that there's so many wonderful blessings that acting has, like teaching empathy and being a team sport. It's very similar to football. So when Walter and I quit football to do this, well, we realized that it's the same thing. It's the same team sport as anything else, any athletics you can possibly do. But the great thing about theater is it doesn't matter how much you bench press. It doesn't matter how fast you run. It doesn't matter how tall you are, how short you are. What matters is
club.
Yes, and it's a land of misfit toys, which is perfect for me, which is perfect for all of us. And it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be yourself and to let yourself go and to step outside of who you are. Because maybe I'm insecure, maybe I'm a little bit nervous. Well, guess what? That character's not. That character is an evil SOB, or that guy is a really nice person, or whatever it is. And so pulling yourself out of that is a fun muscle to use, and I really enjoy doing it. And the great thing about these Mr. Black Presents shows is I'm not a dad of 8 kids. I'm not a husband. I'm whoever is on the script, and I love being able to pull that part of it out, and that's the golden part. The golden part isn't on stage. It's not the clap at the end. It's not those things. It's finding the lore of who this person is and seeing who that person is and how do they talk, how do they stand, and how do they, and all those little things. And the great thing about it is every character you've ever done, it sticks with you. You know, I was fortunate to be cast as Frankenstein's monster here in town 10 years ago with my great friend Ali Mondlach, who directed it. And that character was one of the most amazing, fun characters. He never spoke, and so I had to incorporate myself into that character. And I can always channel that character, which is a really fun thing to do. And so that's just one example. And that's why I love Mr. Black is you never know what you get with Mr. Black. It could be, you know, left or right. You never know what you're getting into, and it's always going to be fun. That's one sure. It's always going to be fun.
So, am I safe to say that you really enjoy theater? Is that safe? Okay, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just met the new face and PR director of Mr. Black Presents. Could never have said it better myself. Beat that, AI. Beat that. Awesome, man. So, okay, let me unpack that real quick then. So there was, obviously a love for it and not till high school, right?
Yeah.
And you got into it like we get into anything for the girls, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And ended up falling in love with the thing instead of the girls.
Yes.
So it worked out really good. I remember when I was in college, it was the same thing. I was like, well, I'm gonna spend some time at Milwaukee, and I'm gonna do this musical theater thing. And then I was like, wow, so dancers spend a lot of time in musical theater. I like it here, you know? But again, you end up falling in love with the art, which is really cool. And you hit a million points that we could talk about for hours. But I think in a future episode of Interview Something, we need to unpack all of that, because there's so much to say about, like you said, how this is an inclusive group for everyone to be in, because it doesn't matter how much you bench press. No. It doesn't matter how fast you can run. It doesn't matter what you look like. Your talent is your talent. And you can learn about empathy and about... you can explore parts of yourself that you can't otherwise explore with a character. So with that, let's talk about characters. So the first show you did with us was the Calamity Club, correct?
Yes.
And I know that I had seen you in a couple things before, and for the DCCT, and your name was known to me for sure. And then I remember we were writing the Calamity Club and working on it. I was talking with Seth about how we're going to cast this. And I said, I've got this guy. He's basically a cheap thrill Amazon horror author, but he follows along these like real actual people and scientists and just scams their stories to make money for himself.
Yeah.
He's in love with himself. He's a bit of a drunk.
Yes.
And he's just loud, and I want the audience to really dislike this guy every time he opens his mouth. And I want, to the point I want a catchphrase where everyone's yelling, "Shut up, Edgar!" and it's like a joke. And I said, "Who do we play this?" And I think it might have been Seth. I'm pretty sure it was Seth who was like, "Dude, Rob Lundholm." And I'm like, "Really? He's so like he's a big guy, but he's kind and gentle." And he's like, "No, man, Rob." And I'd never been so happy in my life. And we wrote, we'll talk about the next show, but we wrote Vincent the Chin Graves for you, because I was like, now I want to see Rob do this. But so talk to me about Calamity Club. When you first got that script, that idea, that first Mr. Black show, it being murder mystery, it being dinner theater, which is very different than being on a stage. How did that feel? Where were you at with it, and what did you get from that?
Well, I think it started with the script was an amazing script. It was a fun script that had a lot of joy to it. It was beautifully written. It was beautifully cast, and I enjoyed it. I didn't
pay him to say that.
It started out with we talked about like a place to be yourself. And the Mr. Black Circle itself is a place you can explore lots of wonderful, whatever it might be. And I've never heard anybody at the Mr. Black Presents family ever say, that's out of line, that's too far, because... Not to say we don't rein things in, but any idea is great, which is fantastic. Even though you wrote the characters, you wrote the plot, you wrote everything, there's always a point where we can always inject, hey, how about he does this? Or how about we feel this way? And you give us a lot of freedom with our characters, for example. Like, I know Edgar Crane, it wasn't written into the script, but in my own head, I'm like, well, this guy's got to be divorced 3 times. He's got to have, you know what I mean? He has a lot of money, but he clearly is a lovable loser. I mean, he thinks he's a ladies' man, but he's not really a ladies' man. And all these wonderful things I was able to build up in myself that it never came out in the script. It never came out to the audience. But the way I carried myself, hopefully you saw that kind of stuff. And it was really a fun show to do. And I never done murder mystery before, and I never done like a 4-act show like that where it was able to kind of break it all down. But it was a safe place. It was a wonderful environment, and it was a wonderful was a wonderful chance to express myself in a way that I hadn't ever done before.
I mentioned this with Audrey, and I'm interested to know your take on it as well, because you did acting in high school and in college, where she was doing it much younger. And then you have also worked with the DCCT for a number of years. I know that, I kind of joke that we shotgun our rehearsal setups, right? Where like you'll get a script and a lot of times 3 weeks later we're at a table read and we expect you to have an idea of who that character is. And then we'll do 5 of those and then we'll be into rehearsals and we'll do 5 of those and then it's tech week, right? So it's like 3 months, sometimes 4 months, and we're doing a show. And we're not spending a whole lot of time together doing it. We're expecting you to do a lot of that homework on your own.
Yeah.
That is, I know this from my degree as well. This is not how traditional theater works.
100%.
Your 4-act format, kind of treating it more like a movie, instead of that 3-act format. So what was that like to go from doing DCCT stuff and doing that traditional theater, which is great, to doing it this way?
Well, I think when you do a show like a big show with maybe 25 people in the cast, a typical garden variety DCCT or West End Players or whatever it is, you gotta hit everybody the lowest denominator possible, as if people were kind of training everybody as it goes. And so when you might have a rehearsal, it might be 6 to 9 p.m. and everybody's kind of there the whole time, and you feel like you're kind of spinning your wheels because it's not really investing in stuff. Whereas when I do a show like a Mr. Black Presents show, a lot of that is very surgical. And one thing I really kind of get out of this, the Mr. Black family, is there's a lot of trust involved. Like, Rob, here's your script. You do your heavy lifting yourself. You figure this stuff out. We'll see in a little while. And I love the fact that
if you have questions, let me know. But you're the character. Get to the character, and we'll talk when you're ready.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think it might lend to a lot of anxiety if you weren't too steady on your feet, or if you didn't feel like your voice could be heard. For example, if I didn't feel like you guys could listen to my questions, or if I had any concerns, if I felt like that, I'd be really anxious about it and really nervous about that. But because I know that we're all family, nobody's above anybody. We're all friends. We're all family. We're all working in this machine together. It makes it easier for me to say I trust the process, and you guys trust us as character actors to pull these things off. And it's not a top down type thing. It's simply we're putting this magic together, and we are going to blow these people's minds with what we can all do together. It's never a Seth project or an Evan project or anybody. It's just this is a show that we're going to do, and we're going to knock their socks off. And I think when you have a bigger cast with a bigger, those are wonderful too, because those you're sitting there for 4 hours a night and you're really getting to know each other really, really well, and there is some value in that. Obviously, there's value in kind of building a cast over the course of 4 months of spending multiple hours, even though you're not really digging into a lot of who your character is. A lot of it, there's fruit to that also. But I really enjoyed I was really, really glad when I saw the Mr. Black, the way you handle things. You really trust us as actors to do what we need to do to get our job done. So yeah, for sure.
I was lucky enough, and I want to comment to that one thing here before I ask this next question, because I think you nailed the idea of what this really is. At its fundamental core of how do we build a production. I was thankful enough to have a kind of a mentor. He probably doesn't remember me, but his name was John LaFlamboy, and he runs a bunch of haunted attractions in the Chicagoland area, in like central Illinois. And he had said, you could have the best lighting, the best sets, the best tech, the most money, the coolest of everything. If you don't have quality actors, you have nothing. The actors are the lifeblood of your production. If you have good actors and mediocre everything else, your show can still be good. If you have everything else and mediocre actors, there's no chance. Because the intelligent person will look at it, and I believe a lot of our stuff we write for the intelligent audience. Not that our audience isn't intelligent, but we write for those people that really want to pay attention to those details. We want to put that world and make that world lived in for them. And I think that, we want that to be I wanted that to be the tenet of Mr. Black Presents. And when I brought in these other people like Seth and a bunch of these other folks, they get it, right? And we mentioned that before, that like we have 2 rules, right? With anything that happens in Mr. Black. Number 1, any sentence where we're going to input a new idea has to start with "Wouldn't it be cool if?"
Yes.
And the second is anything that we come up with as a group is always fundamentally better than any idea that any one of us had, right? So when I present the script, even as the creative director of Mr. Black Presents, my job is to direct their creativity, to have that final say in a lot of these situations. I still want to know what is the group dynamic, because even though this script, we're talking about a very special episode in a second, was written by Seth, directed by Seth, that you guys have agency in what that world looks like, right? So we're asking you that question of like, yes, we wrote this, yes, we have the vision, yes, we have the direction, but you're the actor that we got for this. You're the character, which I think is another boon. I've mentioned this before, that, it's difficult for some people to grasp that we don't do open casting for our shows. We kind of pick the people for the roles, but that's intentional because, like you said, I'm going to hand you a script and I'm going to say, I don't have 2 months to teach this to you. I've got to give this to you. You've got 3 weeks and we're going to start reading it. And you've got 3 more weeks and we're doing it. And then you've got 2 more weeks and people are watching.
And that's the balancing act. The balancing act that you guys give us, the highware that we're doing without a net, because it's a very technical script. This script that we're doing in the show is very technical. We have to hit our marks. We have to hit everything we need to hit.
Yes.
But there's a lot of latitude for us to develop those characters underneath and those things. So you really have to walk that high. But you trust us to pull that off, which is exciting. Same thing with Calamity.
But we know we can. Is the thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm not looking at him like, well, I don't know if Rob's going to get his stuff together and if he's going to. I've never been sitting around going, man, I don't know if he's going to pull this character off, because it's never had to happen. Yeah. Right?
But that's where I would have anxiety if you didn't give us that latitude and if you didn't have that trust, and we have, and we trust you guys to have us give us the information we need to pull off the characters we got to pull off. And
so speaking of pulling off characters, we're going to talk quickly about this because I could talk to you forever, and this doesn't need to go that long.
24 minutes.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you this question then. Speaking of that, characters. Let's talk quickly about the guilty ones, which is I haven't seen a very special episode performed in its fullest yet, so I can't say that it's my favorite. The guilty ones right now is my favorite script. I really enjoy how that script works. I think I'm going to change my mind when we see a very special episode. But I knew right away, because I joked about it in the beginning, but I was serious. I was like, I want Rob to be in this show, and I want Rob to play an awful person, because I want him to see him go. I want to see the dark. In my mind, Mr. Black Presents is always, I love them. They're great. Hashtag dark Audrey, right? So I want to see the darkness out of them. I want to see how do they be the bad guy, So talk to me about the guilty ones.
Guilty Ones was that, of all the great things that happened with Calamity Club, all the fun latitude you gave us on that, the Guilty Ones was even more than that. That was amplified. You gave us, I don't even think you had a name for Vincent yet. You just said, this is your character. And you said, develop, who is this person? And I read the script. I read the beats you gave me on this. You gave me kind of a background of who he was and where he kind of came up. And you said, Rob, figure this out. And I had, I've done a lot of different things in theater in my life. And I've done a lot of great, wonderful things. And the opportunity to kind of develop that person and develop and see who he is and see his family and see why is he Vincent the Chin? Well, at the time that came up a few years ago, it was an interesting story because my daughter had started dating a young man who was a power lifter. He was a power lifter in high school and he did a lot of deadlifting. And I remember watching deadlifting and I started thinking, well, it's a great backstory for this character. I didn't even have a name for him yet. And I'm thinking that'd be great. How about he's old? When he was in high school, he was a power lifter, and when he did, he stuck his chin really far out. And so when he did the deadlift, and I thought Vincent the Chin, and all this things started coming out. I'm like, yes, he's obviously formerly a very strong person. I'm not, I'm in my late 40s now, but what I mean. So that all these things kind of built into the lore of who this person was. Okay, clearly he had a lot of physical strength. Clearly he was very intimidating as a coming up in Boston and gangster, and all these things that you had kind of fed me, and it just. All the things I've done in theater, that was one of the most joyful things I had was developing who this guy was and all this back lore. It never comes out in the script and never in a part of the dialogue. But when I'm standing there to the wall in that show, that's what's going through. That's who you're hearing. You're hearing that character come through. Yeah. And I try to translate that to the kids. When I'm directing shows, I'm like, see that and see the things that nobody else will ever see. Do those things that nobody will ever know in the silence of your heart. It'll make you enjoy the experience more.
Yes.
And then when you enjoy it more, the audience is going to enjoy it because they believe you. And that's how they believe you. They believe you because I really was that former powerlifter. I really was that gangster. I really was that guy in the wall. And so I'll always have a special place for the guilty ones in my heart because of the latitude and the trust that you guys gave us for that particular role. I absolutely loved that show.
I think I sent you. I think it was like a 4 or 5 page document where I was like, I know he's a gangster from South Boston. I know this, and I know this. I don't, and I was like, and then there's a backstory paragraph, and it was like, Rob, do it, But also too, like that is part of the influence. I remember Tarantino watching an interview with Tarantino one time, and he said, Seth sent this to me, and it changed me. Is that every time he does a script, he will do the first script reading, and he said, when we do the first script reading, I give 0 notes, I make 0 comments. And I just take a ton of notes because I gave the actor something, I gave them the framework of the idea, and they filled in the blanks with what they thought in their head was this character. And I learned from that, you know, and then after that, I'll start implementing my life and my thoughts and opinions into the world again. But when you get to design that character, getting to know where you've been, it's like us as people. We are a product of our experiences, right? So getting to know where you've been is so important to knowing who you are. And if I hand you all that and say, read this, here's who you are. And you can go, that's interesting, this isn't interesting, this doesn't really, you know. If I hand you the thing and I say, who are you? And how did you get here? Here's the main beats, so you can't, you know, you don't accidentally derail the script that I'm going to write for this character, but how did they get to that point? You know, and by you being able to sit down and write that, you find that, right? Yeah. So I think that's great.
One great thing about, just to finish up on that, on that character, the more coming through college and the theater that I did through college, the stuff I did, it was very, very top down. Like, you stand here, you deliver this line like this, you do exactly like this, you do exactly like this. I'm not really learning anything as an actor. I'm not learning much. I'm just following directions and just spitting out the dialogue as I go. The latitude that you kind of give us in this stuff, that's what, and I'm learning now as a director. I'm doing more of, I don't know if they call it method. I don't know what kind of hybrid style we're trying to do here, but I'm trying to get my kids, if they learn anything by the shows that we do, it's like embrace who that character is and have it come out of you. In fact, right coming on the heels of The Guilty Ones in Calamity Club, I ended up directing a show called Finding Nemo, which is a beautiful story. You probably all know that story. But I remember talking to the girl who played Dory, and she was an amazing actress. But I'm like, imagine being somebody who has no friends. Imagine being somebody who can't remember, but you know that nobody likes you. Imagine how you think in your head, oh, it's a cartoon, it's silly, it's just a Dory being Dory. But like, imagine the sadness that
Dory
she
is
feel.
sad.
Imagine that, and then she and her whole act, she changed, and
that's
she
why
became.
She will do anything for him. Yes, she's so lonely.
Yeah, and there's a line she's like, I can't believe that nobody's ever hung around with me this long. And that's a line that she says in the script. And I remember I said, you got to nail that because that's going to be a really important part. That has heart. You know what I mean? Like, and she got it. And that's one of those things. Is like, but coming off the heels of your shows, it helped me be a better director and showing that kind of thing. And those are the things that I don't really learn if I'm being told, okay, stand here, say this, and come over here and turn that way and grab that cup. And that's not really learning. And so this is a fertile soil for me to grow, Mr. Black, for sure.
And I think that at the end of the day, any show is, yes, the director has a vision, yes, the writer and creators have a vision, but it's their idea, but it's our thing, right? It's our thing. You should have say in what you do with our thing, right? And that's why that idea of like whatever we come up with as a group collectively is always better than any one idea any one of us had. So let's move on into now a very special episode, which is what this is really supposed to be about. If you stuck with us this long, good job. Proud of you.
And my daughter married that powerlifter, by the way. His name is Brandon, and now I'm a grandfather because of their marriage.
There we go. See what I'm saying? Powerlifting will get you the right girls with the right parents. You know what I'm saying? It'll get you the good ones. So start lifting, kids. You won't look like me. So with that being said, then, when we come to a very special episode, again, it was one of those things where like Seth was writing and we're talking about the cast and we're like, well, who's in it? And he goes, well, Linda, we need Linda for this. We need Rob. We need Audrey. You know, so like there were some names. He's like, these are the people that are absolutely going to be here. And when he told me about this, I'm like, oh, now we get to see Rob be like this Tim Allen goofball kind of character, which I'm really excited about. So like now we get to see Rob do another thing, which you're freaking nailing. So tell us about now that script. Right? You're playing Tim Carruthers. Mm-hmm. So Rob Lundholm, in a Mr. Black show, a very special episode, is playing Tim Carruthers, who is an actor working for Nostalgia TV, who is playing Buck Pinsky in the show Like It or Not, We're Family. It will all make sense when you see it, I promise. When I first read it too, I was like, what is going on? It'll all make sense. That's theater inception. Yeah. You know, when you saw that, read it, and we're like, okay, I'm doing this character. You know, what were the conversations like with Seth when you started? How did you feel about the script? And now that we've done some reads and now rehearsals, run me through that.
Well, I think it's the most challenging Mr. Black script I've seen before because there's times where
because Seth is the best writer that we've had so far.
Yes. No. But yeah, it's a wonderful script because most of the time it's very clear. I'm Tim Carruthers. I'm the actor who's portraying this dad, and then when I'm the dad, I'm clearly the Tim Allen dad on TV, and it's clearly on the sound, on the whole studio, and that's very clear. And then what's interesting is things develop, and then there's kind of a little bit of a mix between the two, and that's where the rich part of this personal experience for me with this character is that the fine line between the actor Tim Carruthers, who's experienced, he's just an actor who's been around a long time, and he's paid his dues. He's not a big huge Hollywood star yet, or he's where he's at. He's a character actor who pays the bills, and he's very good at what he does, but he fits right in there, right where he should fit. Yeah. And then when he's playing his role, which is fun, and then it kind of gets weird because they've been in the show for a long time, and
this is season 4.
He's season 4. Yep. And of course, my Hollywood wife is very friendly. We're very close with each other, as casts get, I'm sure, on TV shows. Mm-hmm. But then when things start to go twisted, it gets really kind of the fine line between what's reality, what's not reality, and that's been probably the most fun for me to explore so far. I mean, it's great playing Tim Carruthers as just the actor. It's fun playing Buck Pinsky, the dad. But it's really kind of fun mixing the lines while the cameras are still on us, which is going to be, you're going to love this. It's an amazing script.
Yeah, I mean, the show is a lot of fun, right? And it's written really well. It's got a lot of those really bright parts of it. I've been saying this in like the nicest word. It's tropey, right? Where you're getting a lot of these tropey kind of characters. And I said this to Seth when we first wrote the script, is I was like, when I first read the script, I was like, I know from the beginning now that I was right. There's no chance I was able to write this script. You had to write it. He has the experience that I just don't have to write something, but also is such a good character director. So tell me about the rehearsal process. And this would be the first time really that you're not having me direct you.
Yeah.
You're having Seth direct you. And Seth is an awesome actor and character director.
Yes.
So how is that going?
It's going fantastic. Well, again, who you cast in this entire show, we all know that we all have big shoulders. We can all help each other out. We can all lean on each other. We all know where we need to go. There's a lot of give and take that really comes naturally with everybody that you've cast for the show, and I think it's been a lot of fun. But Seth's vision, like you said, there's things that I have no experience with. I've never been on a TV show. Likewise. I've never been in a sound studio. I've never had in front of a live studio audience. That stuff's going to be a lot of fun, and just the play within that, kind of we're doing a show within a show. It's going to be interesting, and especially having the audience take part in the show too, which is just, it's brilliant. It's absolutely a brilliant show, and I just love who we cast in the show. I think it's going to be fantastic.
It is a great cast because we have a lot of veteran Mr. Black Presents actors, right? And then we have some new ones as well, right? I am so excited. I was talking to Audrey last, and I mentioned that to her too. I'm like, so excited to see Audrey in a major role, right? # Dark Audrey.
Dark Audrey.
And we're going to make that a thing, I promise. And it was so great to see that. But we have Sarah Haddon, who is coming in now too, is brand new.
Powerhouse.
And you're talking about acting with family.
Yes.
Joey is in this as well.
Powerhouse.
So how is that being like, hey, Joey, come on, kid, we're going to the set. Oh, by the way, script's a little dark. Get ready for it. Come with dad. No, I promise he's fine.
Yeah, he's 20. Well, he'll be 20 in September, and he's when I talk about doing something fun as a family. When he was younger, he was 6, 7, 8 years old when we did Wizard of Oz, and we've done shows since then. So he did a lot of acting when he was a real little guy, and then he kind of stopped when a lot of teenage guys.
Yeah, when it stops being cool.
Yeah, stops being cool. He kind of stopped.
Well, and he's one of those kids that probably was cool in high school.
Unlike me.
Yeah, and unlike me, right? Like this stops being cool, and I don't want to stop being cool. And high school's about where I stopped being cool, so theater was the cool thing for me because I'm not going to be cool anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I get it.
But just he ended up helping out with this amazing project called Northbound, and he actually stepped in and did an amazing job as Cleve in Northbound, and he really enjoyed doing that. And that was a couple years ago, and he's been working now. He's done all in high school, and he has a great high school swimming career, and everything was great. Now he's working, and the opportunity came up for him to do a show, and he's like, man, I miss acting, and he's like, why don't you give this a look? And you guys talked to him, and he was a little bit apprehensive about it, but man, the smiles on his face, he's
having fun. It's very clear to see he's having fun.
He is having a blast, and he loves his character. His character is
good.
It's a very fun character for him.
I knew Joey a little bit before this because he worked with me at True North Outpost, and when Seth proposed me this character, he's like, I want Joey's going to play it. I'm like, oh, dude, that's perfect. That's perfect. That kid is perfect. Okay, so I know we're running short on time here, so the one more question for you
Yes.
before we wrap this up. Being a dad, right? I get this question a lot. Is this show appropriate for my kids? On our website, and I've been telling people it's a PG-13 show. There's a little bit of language, not much.
Yeah.
But there's also, a few difficult themes that like a very special episode of a television show would touch.
Yeah.
There's some very Roseanne kind of, themes in there. And also, spoiler alert, people die. And some of them not in very nice ways. So what does that, if there was a parent being like, hey, should I take my son or my daughter or my nephew or whatever to this show, what would you say to them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that we have an 11-year-old at home still, and so we have kids growing up. I think my older kids obviously will be very happy and they will come to it and it'll be a wonderful thing. I'm not so sure an 11-year-old may or may not enjoy it as much as I think my 13 and 15-year-olds can certainly enjoy the show. The themes of it are very, very much like what you would see like in Roseanne, a special episode of Roseanne, and there's themes in there that are, does the boyfriend get a little bit too promiscuous possibly, but there's no graphic nudity, there's no graphic language. Out of all the shows that I've been a part of with Mr. Black, this is probably the one that's the easiest entry point, because there's a lot that happens in the show. I think some of the violence that we've done in the past would be, I wouldn't have a 13-year-old coming back.
You wouldn't bring your 11-year-olds to the guilty ones?
Probably not. No.
Okay. Sure, fine. But, I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Yes. But I think if you have a mature child, I think it'd be a fantastic show for them to come to, because there are a lot of laughs in it, and a lot of laughs that are written into the script. But there's also a lot of circumstances that are just funny in general. Just blindside you with a certain that angle came out of nowhere. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
It knocks you off your. Oh, I'm just watching the show. All of a sudden, you realize you're just pushed off your point, and it's those are the kind of things that are really fun about the way the script is written and the way the script is going to come out. I think PG-13 is a great way to call it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, we had good instincts there. I have one more small, short question for you.
Yes.
Who is your favorite character in a very special episode?
Audrey.
Me too.
She's the sweetest person.
I know. Yep.
She's the queen of Iron Mountain. I love Audrey to death, and I love seeing her explore and push herself to where she's going with this.
Yep.
This is
Hashtag
fantastic.
Dark
Audrey.
Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to know. Everybody, like you said,
I love acting with you too. You're in this.
Thanks,
I can't wait to
man.
act with you.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
being a jerk is really great.
Yes.
So everyone in our cast obviously is amazing, but I for some reason I just felt like we'd beat a line there. So Rob, hey man, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for your time. I want to do this forever, but we can't. So if that being said, if you guys stuck around for this whole thing, bless you, thank you. And of course, we are talking about our upcoming Murder Mystery Dinner Theater show, a very special episode, which will be happening at Venue 906 on Friday, August 28th and Saturday, August 29th. All the information about that show and getting tickets, which are going fast, to make sure you get them, they are not going to be there forever, are at our website at MrBlackPresents.com/events. You can find us always here on Facebook. Go back and check out our other interview videos. We'll have a playlist going. It's all there. You can check out the event page for this as well on our Facebook. Also go to our Instagram to find our short version stuff. That is Mr. Black Events. And then to check this out and watch it over and over and over, because why wouldn't you? YouTube is the best place to do that. You can check us out on our YouTube as well. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this interview. Rob, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
What we've been doing is saying, it's not "we'll be right back," but it's voice behind the camera. What are we supposed to say?
I like "we'll be right back" now.
What was the other one?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right, yeah. So, as always, stay tuned.